Hey, everybody, welcome to Night of the Nerdy Laser podcast, episode 96. We are talking Castle Freak, Castle Freaky.
Oh, yeah.
I am your host, Richard. I have 3 copies of Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout, Yule.
And I'm no copies, Jeff Lown.
No copies. That's why I rubbed them in his face.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, see? 3 why do I have 3 copies, Jeff?
I don't know.
I also have 2 copies of Debbie Does Demons.
Oh, yeah. Who made that? Donald Farmer?
Donald
Where's he gonna be?
Farmer. He was at Bride of FrankenCon this past weekend.
Yeah.
Well, the video might go up, but June 9th and 10th is Bride of FrankenCon. You can go to frankencontn.com for all the information and information of any of the events we do. But it's a big horror convention, so check it out. Yeah, so Castle Freak, Full Moon, this is 95.
Yep.
Stuart Gordon, what else has old Stuart Gordon done?
Stuart Gordon, he's done quite a few things. Sadly, he's gone. We lost him too soon, but he did Reanimator, From Beyond, Castle Freak, Pin the Pendulum. Oh, boy. What else did he do? Did he...
Space Truckers.
Space Truckers, yeah. King of the Ants, which is one people mention every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Robot Jocks.
He did Robot Jocks?
And Dolls, yeah.
Here's a question. Is Robot Jocks and Robot Wars the same movie?
I don't think so. But is
I don't know.
Is Robot Jocks and Pacific Rim the same movie?
No. I'm being like serious with this because
I think. Go ahead.
Like, but is one the sequel to the other? Was Robot Jocks first?
Robot Jocks was first in like '86, I want to say, and then Robot Wars. I don't know if it's a spiritual sequel or an actual sequel, but I don't
know, but I love Robot Jocks.
That's great.
Who else is in this movie? Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton. And what tie do they have with Stuart Gordon?
They all worked on Reanimator together,
which we're probably going to cover on Trash Talk.
Yeah, we probably should.
So if you want to watch Trash Talk, which is our video-based TV program, we show clips and have all sorts of fun over there. You can follow Night of the Nerdy Laser on YouTube, and you can get video versions of the podcast when I put them up. You can get Trash Talks and other goodies on there as well. It is also airing on Tingler Television, which you can get on Roku. So you just go to Roku, add the channel Tingler Television, and there's all sorts of goodies on there, including our friend Corey over at Spooky Dudes has a show on there now.
Yeah, good for Corey. From Beyond, they worked together on that as well. Is that the slow clap for Corey?
God, I love Full Moon, and I think I have seen Castle Freak before, but I don't really remember it, but I'm sure I rented it. I mean, in 95, I was like junior in high school, and I was walking down to the J&J video because I didn't have a car, and I'm sure I rented this. I mean, I kind of remember The Blind Girl.
Yeah.
But it's just one that I never watched on repeat, and I mean, there's just... Okay. So what's a fun fact about Full Moon and how they used to do movies? This might be common knowledge, but I'm sure one person out there listening doesn't know.
Yeah, so their thing back in the day was to pitch a poster. Like they would either see some cool artwork or make their own poster and then be like, all right, we're going to make this a movie. And then they'd take it and be like, all right, what do you got? And they're like, that poster. And it's like, all right.
They would. This painter would paint the posters and these gorgeous posters, and then they would come up with a name, and then they would pick what movie they thought would be the best.
Yeah,
pretty funny. So Castle Freak isn't much. Doesn't steer far from that, as Gordon was in in Charles Band's office, and this poster with this Igor looking guy, um, not Igor. I got Igor in the brain. Quasimodo, kind of the
Yeah.
same thing, I guess. Quasimodo, like man, chained to a wall, being whipped by a woman, which I don't think is any poster. Like I've never seen that image.
No, but they made it
So
happen in the movie.
yeah, no. I mean, it's a big part of the movie. But Gordon asked about it, and Charles. This is like the most Charles Band answer, where he's like, "Well, that's a castle, and there's a freak." But there was no script. But if Gordon wanted it, he could do whatever he wanted, as long as he maintained the concepts of the castle and a freak.
Yeah.
How much do you think Gordon spent to make this movie?
Well, they shot on location in his castle, so obviously they saved some money there. Saved some money on like room and board for all their people because they probably just made them stay there with them. Uh,
Probably
I don't know, 50,000 at most.
no, 500.
Okay.
500,000. So I mean, I kind of, I'm kind of on board with the story of there's a castle and there's a freak.
That's pretty much
This
it.
Jeffrey Combs. Well, until next time, keep it, buddy. Stuart Gordon is basically this guy, an alcoholic that was drunk, I think,
Yeah.
while he's driving his kids, and he killed one of them
Yeah,
in
so
a
he
car crash.
blinded the daughter and killed the son. And they show the wreck in like a Saw style flashback, and I was like, okay, that wreck. How did anybody die in that? First off, because he's like,
The kid goes flying out the car.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there was no reason for him to on that crash. But that's the beauty of it.
I mean, just because of the severity, sometimes it doesn't need to be a severity for something to happen. I mean, but so the wife and the husband are still together, which I mean is kind of baffling. Like I don't like. I mean, but was he drinking and driving?
Yeah, he was trying to. He was like kind of slurring his words during that
Yeah.
scene.
So that's bad. Like that. At no point can you like feel bad for this guy, really.
No, he was in the wrong.
And so it's kind of a weird movie because you're not really rooting for him. I mean, of course, at the end you kind of get the the comeuppance or whatever, like his whatever you
Ultimate
call it.
sacrifice.
Yeah, I guess. So he inherits this castle from an uncle or an aunt, and they move in, and this freak is discovered downstairs.
Yeah.
The freak reminded me a lot of Barbarian. I imagine that the person who like Barbarian loves Castle Freak.
The guy from The Whitest Kids We Know.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I mean, it looks like Mother, kinda.
baby.
I mean, without the boobs.
Yeah. I'm sure Castle Freak, if he only had one VHS tape on how to become a mother, like, and that's all he watched, he would act the part. Although he doesn't have like any genitalia, it's like
that's
Ken
true.
doll down there.
It's smooth. So I mean, there is a little bit of a story, I guess. I mean, you find out that like his relative's son died, but really didn't. She just locked him up. Not very well hidden.
No, it was
It's
like
just down
the
street. And there's all sorts of kitty cats in this movie, and they kill one, and it just does not look real. Thank God.
Yeah.
It just looks like a doll, a stuffed kitty cat, just soaked in blood. So
Yeah.
I was okay with that. But I mean, what do you think about this movie?
So this is one video store days, like you're saying. I saw a couple of times, and I mean, I love Barbara and Jeffrey. I think they work really like great together on screen. The chemistry is always really good between them. And I think they were actually in a short for another thing too. The something clergyman or something like that. I can't remember. I know I watched it on Tubi, but anyway, because it was supposed to be part of an anthology thing and it fell through, but they still had that one recorded. The other ones weren't. But this movie's kind of, I mean, slow. I want to say like it kind of all culminates towards the end of the movie, like a
Yeah.
lot of movies do. But I like it still. It's just it's kind of a slog to get through a lot of it, and it's just kind of it's very simple. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean there not being a story is part of the problem,
that's
but
what makes it
and like
hard.
you said, it is very slow. And but there's a couple things going for it. I think you're right with Barbara and Jeffrey Combs. I think they're great together, and the daughter,
Yeah, she's good
um,
too.
she's really good. And the scenery, right? Like the castle is really cool looking.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean, I don't think we talked about it, but it's his castle. He what did we say? What did I say? He filmed there under Empire before it was
Spellcaster,
Spellcaster. Then I think we said he did Pit and Pendulum
and
after that, and
yeah,
then
Pit and Pendulum right before this, and then this one.
yeah. So I mean, he got his money's worth.
I think he
And
did a few more.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. Um, I I don't know. Like I feel like the things that I said saved it, and I feel like the practical effect with the creature is really good.
Yeah.
Deaths, there aren't that many really.
No, no. That we get
Although we
cross.
get a great scene. So he's chained to the wall at first.
Yeah.
And we get a great scene where he breaks his thumb to pull off the chain off of his
Right.
wrist.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, the
And it looks
practical
good.
stuff and makeup is real good on it. I mean, that's what the 80s and 90s were about, man. Like if you couldn't pull that stuff off in your movies, it makes it hard, for that movie to have like like the cred.
It is weird that he chose like that that there this movie feels different than like Reanimator, obviously, but you would think there'd be some bonkers ass shit in there, right? Like,
You think?
I mean, it reminds me a little bit of Peter Jackson, where Dead Alive is so different from anything else he did.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Like,
see that.
he did Dead Alive and Frighteners. They're both horror movies, but they're both drastically different.
Yeah. I mean, Peter Jackson's first three were you could bunch those right up together, but
I mean, yes, but I mean, I'm just but I mean, you
it's his
can't
big
really with
breakthrough with the Frighteners, though. That's the thing. Like you could see, through his progression that he was a storyteller. He liked how stuff looked, so costumes, makeup, all that stuff, and he was like a master of his craft. That's why he got big projects. But I mean, I they are very different feeling from that point, like those three and then the next one, like you're saying.
yeah. I mean, and so I feel like Stuart Gordon missed the opportunity to kind of go batshit with this movie in a way, like the Castle Freak, like ripping heads off or arms off, but he doesn't really show any kind of superhuman strength or anything.
Now he's just a dude that's locked up in a basement. Like that's all he is, and he's just a little stronger than a normal person or something.
Um, well, that's probably because the heavy chains were on his arms and he moved them around all the time.
Oh,
His head was wrapped up with something.
uh
I don't know what, a sheet or something.
huh. I don't know.
I mean, he just always had that. You never really saw it. Like you would see his teeth, and you would see an eye, maybe,
Yeah,
but outside of that,
yeah.
not
Um,
much.
Let's see. I was trying to look something else up. Oh boy. Oh, all right. What I wanted to talk about was they made a remake of this.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, and I want to say
Also available on Tubi.
yeah, it is on Tubi. I know it was on Shutter for a while, but it looks like it might be
I've
just over.
heard not good things about it.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And I wanted to say, was Barbara involved? Yeah, she was a producer on it. So
Nice.
Charles Band was executive producer because it's my entity. I get all the money. So, somebody named Bobby Campbell, which I'm not real familiar with him. It looks like he's worked on a few different things that are on Shutter and Tubi. But yeah, Barbara Crampton was a producer on it. And I remember, I think it might have been at the time she was on Mick Garris's podcast or something like that. One of those shows, kind of promoting it, or it could have even been one of the stupid shows I listened to with Rebecca McKendry.
Well, she's kind of found a resurgence here lately.
Oh, Barbara.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, ever since 2011 for You're Next 2013, whatever it was when it actually came out.
Oh, she was in that?
Yeah, she was the mom, but she
I remember not liking that movie. I need to watch it again.
it's I like that movie quite a bit actually.
I think I thought it was going to be something else, and I just didn't like it. So I'd give it another shot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on it. All the people, it's that like mumble gore people all in it. Kind of, I think Ty West is in it. Larry Fessenden's in it. So that that's when her and Larry first worked together, I believe, before they made that Jacob's Wife movie.
Yeah, because that's the movie that she really that's put a big spotlight on her.
Yeah, she was great in that movie. She's really good. Both of them were.
I haven't seen it.
I'd watch that one. Yeah, but so the remake wasn't as good. You don't really even hear about it, other than like I said when they were promoting it.
I mean, the only way I've heard about it is people say it's not good. Let's name parts of the castle. Go.
Freak.
No parts. Don't you think what part of the castle would Jason like?
Oh, you mean the dungeon?
This is the perfect opportunity, and we blew it.
If you're talking about Jason down at the dungeon in Maryville, Tennessee, then yes, that's him. That's our castle freak.
Our little castle freak, Jason. Yeah, the dungeon is awesome, guys. You've seen me talk about it. You've heard us talk about it. They're just a great little store that has VHS, Blu-ray, DVD, video games, all sorts of things, books, records, even a Funko Pop or two. But he's getting in some really cool Nintendo stuff. So I know this is not a hip or cool thing, and I cheesed over it, and he looked at me like I'm stupid, but. So he has a mint in box Super Nintendo game called Super Tennis.
Uh-huh.
It's just a tennis game, but I'm not kidding. I rented this game all the time when I was little. I mean, because sometimes you didn't have options,
right? Back then you
and so it was this stupid tennis game, and I loved it.
You would.
I mean, it's not like an arcade tennis game. It's not like the balls turn to fire or anything like that. Just fucking tennis.
Just boring tennis.
Well, I thought if tennis was good enough to get a super tennis. But anyway, so all sorts of stuff like that. He also got in some used stuff, like the Friday the 13th box set. So some really cool stuff. If you don't live in Maryville, Tennessee, don't worry. You can go on Instagram, Southland_dungeon. And you can find all the pictures. If you see anything you like, just send him a message and y'all can work it out. Tell him that I told him to give you a discount. And he'll do it. He'll be forced to. So yeah, our little castle freak, Jason. That's funny. Now I need to commission some artwork.
Jason is a little freak.
um, I mean, I'm glad we picked this. Like, I think it was sort of random.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I like picking movies and seeing movies that I haven't seen in a long time or have never seen or whatever. And Full Moon is like a special place in my heart. I've actually never seen Pit and the Pendulum either, and I've heard it's really good.
It's good.
So I want to see that eventually. But what do you think? I thought the last 15 minutes were really solid.
Yeah, I mean,
Once the police, so we do get a really good gory scene. It's not crazy or bonkers or anything. But so he's just this horrible person. So he's still married to Barbara. And so but she won't touch him, so he goes and gets a prostitute or
and
whatever.
drinks again after he promised after 9 months of being sober.
And so so we get some nudity, which is always a bonus. But then the castle freak, we get a good gory scene with the castle freak getting some breast meat.
Yeah, that's one way to say it.
So yeah, he basically just, I mean, he eats her boob.
Yeah, he does.
And then he kills her, but then it looks like the other dude did it. It looks like Jeffrey Combs did it. So the police come down, and it's all kind of very, very silly how the police end up there. But
yeah, like
it's so stupid.
that, and the whole insurance or not insurance, the lawyer that was gonna like blackmail him, but then like loved the prostitute and was like upset that they found her in the basement, and
oh yeah,
just a lot of like weird little things thrown in to like pad some time, I think. But like, the story, they get the castle and things like unwind over time. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You can't present everything right away. And like you're saying, it's just like Barbarian. Like you get the Airbnb, and then stuff slowly happens, and then you involve yourself and it goes crazy. Like that's what happened. Like I don't really know how else to say it. But yeah, like I said, earlier, with their acting together and the daughter's acting, everything was good. The
the
police,
scene where the daughter ends up walking down. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Where she's going down there and he loses her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, they're together and she can't. I mean, it's not like she's a child. I mean, she's in her 20s
yeah.
or whatever, I think, right?
You would think she moved with them, like.
So anyway, he loses her and she goes wandering off, and I really like that scene. There's some good tense scenes there with the castle freak behind her, and obviously she can't see him, but she can feel him, and all that. So, and there's a creepy part where she's in bed and he comes in there.
That's what
So there's some really good scenes. It's not like nothing happens. It's just it's really dark. I mean, being in the castle, I mean, it does fit the movie a little bit, but at times it can be really dark.
Yeah, and you struggle to see a lot going on. But I mean, that's how you made movies cheap back then. You didn't really light them, and you'd rely on the VHS release where picture quality didn't matter. Now we're watching it on Blu-ray, like what, 720p or 1080p, whatever it is.
Least.
So
I mean, hell, I think their phone is 720 anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, for what it was at the time, like a quick release for him to make a bunch of money during the VHS boom and like the.
Oh, I'm sure it made a
90s.
ton of money.
Oh, guaranteed. I mean, I don't know if it'll say it on IMDb. I'll check real quick, but
because I'm sure. I mean, because the cover is really awesome, and it just fit into that time of where you were renting movies based solely on the cover. You might read the back, but you're not picking up the back unless that cover looks good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
bottom line,
going up and down the aisles in a VHS store and like seeing which there was so much choice back then. Like, I mean, there is now too with streaming, but I mean, back then you had to like have a cool poster really pop out to grab your attention.
I mean, don't you feel like that's what all these boutique things do?
Yeah, I mean, people are like,
Vinegar
"Ooh,
Syndrome and
fancy,
Severin and stuff,
ooh,
like,
slipcover, it looks nice, I'm gonna check it out."
yeah,
And then
like,
you watch the boards on, like, the internet, all the groups we're in, and it's like, "Hey, I bought this one on a blind buy because it looked cool, and man, I love it." Like, it's crazy. It's like,
or it's shit.
yeah, you don't find middle ground on any of those.
Yeah.
You got 2 sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, it really is. We've spoken a lot about Barbarian. Are they gonna ever release that movie on Blu-ray, you think?
No.
And why the fuck haven't they?
I don't know. I thought
So
maybe it
weird.
might be
They're
on a
like, no, no,
streaming
no,
thing.
no. We don't want to make money.
I think that's what it is. I think it's, rights, streaming rights. They secured them for, like, a certain amount of time, and
Like
I
a
think
year.
HBO did it. It was a Warner Brother movie, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It was on
so
HBO.
it's on HBO. So I'm guessing that's what happened because Malignant was the same way. After Malignant streamed for a certain amount of time, they I think finally put out like a bare bones
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
it's available, I think.
Yeah, so I think they want you to, oh, I want to watch this movie. I can't buy it, but I could subscribe and maybe forget to unsubscribe. So now they got you for $45 in HBO Max.
um,
Which
all
I
right.
get it.
So,
I get it. It's fair. I don't like it, but that's a business model they run on, those streaming services.
but there are ways to get that movie on Blu-ray if you really want it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, I know there are.
Um, and I say if they're not going to do it, then you got to do what you got to do.
Right, because what happens if they pull it? Like a lot of stuff that's happening
Yeah.
now. Like you look at the Disney Hulu merger that's going to be happening at the end of this year.
Well, and
They're already
Willow's
pulling stuff.
gone.
Yeah,
If
they're
you
already pulling stuff.
if you wanted Willow to watch the Willow show, you can't. Like you literally miss the window and it's gone.
Yeah, that's what happened with that Critters, a new binge or whatever. When it was on, it was bad, but they just
No,
took it off Shutter.
so it's not available anywhere.
No, you can't watch it. You don't need to. Don't worry. Nobody.
No, no. I mean, I remember it was the first. Like
One of
it
the
was
first
one of
things
the
on
reasons.
Shutter.
Huh?
It was one of the first things on Shutter. Like,
Well, and it was why I got Shutter. Like I was like, oh, this is cool, new critters, and then it was so weird because it's just like a full length movie
just
broken up into a show, but none of them are even. Like one's 11 minutes, one's 30, one's 20, one's 5. Like
it was weird.
there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, no, but and then what else recently? The Discovery and HBO merger that happened. They were pulling stuff off of there. So I think like The Witches was pulled off of there. Just other stuff that people like. I probably don't watch every day, but there were people going back to it from time to time, and now it's just gone. So where are we losing all this stuff? And I know it's going to happen with MGM stuff because Amazon bought MGM.
No.
So unless Amazon still has that thing where they do movies on demand where they print them like they used to,
Warner Archives or whatever.
kind of like Warner Archives, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to tell with the direction it's going. You're either a avid collector and own everything, or you subscribe to 14 different streaming services. Sadly,
Well, we don't have cable, so we're basically paying the same amount.
yeah. Yeah,
no,
I
we're
mean,
paying, we still have like 6 streaming channels, and it is much cheaper than what our cable bill was.
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. Everything
But
else.
I'll say this: we have tried. So we went on, and I don't know if this is our TV or what. Amy thinks I'm an idiot for thinking it's the TV, but I've heard that like TVs can go bad, like the connectivity can go bad, like in the smart TVs.
Okay.
So we have Amazon Prime, and we were going to watch that jury duty show. It's like a reality show where it's a fake. The premise is actually funny. It's like a fake reality. It's a fake court case, but one of the jury members is not in on it, but everybody else is.
Oh.
It's a little ridiculous, but it's still a funny premise. But we can't watch it. Like it gets to a certain point, like a minute into the show, and it just stops. And then we're watching on Apple TV this shrinking show, and we've gotten to like the 6th episode or 5th episode or something, and it stopped like 9 times last night.
That's weird.
So we just stopped watching. Like so it's like none of this shit is guaranteed. Like the only way you're going to guarantee it is physical media. That's
Yeah.
the only way.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you think about Castle Freak?
Castle Freak, I'm gonna give it 3 Jasons.
Three
Three
little
little freaks
Jason
and freaks.
Castle Freaks out
Yeah.
of 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's one I've seen a lot actually, so I don't
yeah,
hate it.
I'd say 2.5, right down the middle. I'd say with a couple of more viewing. If they just took away the alcoholic and some of that weird stuff, if they just made it like a normal family, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it would have been better.
Yeah. I mean,
I
he
mean, I
did too
understand the
much.
dynamic. I understand they put it in there for a dynamic, but it's not a good dynamic as far as
No, because
like
I
you
mean,
have to root for the. I mean, ultimately, we have this showdown on top of the castle that's really awesome, and they both fall to their death, basically, or you assume.
yeah.
What do you get out of the end of this movie? So you see they're carrying the coffin out, and you see this policeman there with a kid. Is it supposed to be them?
I'm not real sure,
Because
honestly.
she's looking at them. I don't know.
Yeah, it's up for debate, I guess.
I guess I don't know.
I don't know. You know how they always, especially Charles Band, always trying to like
Well,
spin
and
people.
I mean, they leave it open. They never did a sequel though, right?
I don't think so.
Which is kind of crazy to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Castle Freak. You should watch it. It's on Tubi right now, but don't
Yeah.
always depend on Tubi.
Although Tubi is the most reliable.
It is true. I mean,
Of
I don't
all
ever have
platforms.
problems with Tubi, so
No,
and
plus
it's
they got
free.
the
So
best stuff. Yeah.
if it does, it's free. So if it does mess up, who cares? You're not paying for it. Just go to something else.
Yeah.
But anyway, follow us on Instagram, Night of the Nerdy Laser. Follow us on YouTube, Night of the Nerdy Laser. Email us at nightofthenerdylaser@gmail.com. And the first, I'll say, if you email Night of the Nerdy Laser at gmail.com and just say, I want to win something, and give me your address, send you something.
Still waiting for that first email to come through almost 100 episodes into the
I will send you something. If 5 people email us, I will send you something. The first person though will get something nice. And then the other people will get like stickers. But I have some cool stickers. So.
Yeah, we do
It's
have
free.
stickers.
Night of the Nerdy Laser at gmail.com. Just send us an email. Tell us what you like about the show or
Yeah,
not like.
tell us about your thoughts on Castle Freak. And then another thing they could do to help us out is go on to Apple Podcasts or one of the programs you guys.
Spotify.
Yeah, give us a rating and review. It helps out a lot. It's free to you guys, and it's a huge benefit to us that we're trying to grow the show, make it bigger and better for you guys. So it only helps you as well.
Yep. Do what Jeff said, or he gets mad. He gets really
do what
mad.
I say, or I won't show up to Tennessee.
He's not coming anyway. He's not coming to Bride of FrankenCon, which makes me mad.
I either not
until
showing
next-
up or I didn't show up at this point.
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
They should keep it bloody.
Because somebody has to be a freak in the castle. I forgot he does do that, doesn't he?